All right, guys, today we're going to be taking off a faulty Livescope LSV 34 and replacing it with a new one. I'm going to show you some of the steps that you have to go through in order to do this. It's not very difficult, but it is time consuming. I'm going to start the disconnect process, guys. Get this old transducer off. I was having some issues with the left side quadrant of the unit not showing very clearly. So when you do this, you're going to need a little kit. And in that kit, they give you a wrench. And that wrench looks like this. You need that. First step, go ahead and take a number 2 Phillips screwdriver and remove the 4 Phillips screws out of the head of the Garmin unit. See that once the screws fall out here, you're going to have a few connectors. You're going to want to unplug these connectors. Unhook the connectors. And then what you want to do while you're in here, go ahead and cut these zip ties. There's 2 zip ties. You're going to be replacing those because you have to pull this out. This here carefully unscrews right from the top. Lay that aside. So you just pull this plug out and lay that aside. And that way we can pull the wire through. This is going to get it ready to be pulled back through the shaft of the motor. And you got to remove these little clips, guys. And that should allow you to pop that off, so that way you can actually pull the plug through. Now keep in mind, you're going to have to change these grommets out, so don't worry if you lose them. The new install kit should have replacements. We're going to need some Allen wrenches, because we have to disassemble the base of the trolling motor, as you can see here. And we're going to be removing the nose, essentially everything that you see right here. So we got a 532 Allen wrench here, and we're breaking these. When I say breaking them, just breaking them free and then removing them. Go ahead and remove this fin, put your screws aside, and remember, when you put these back on, you're going to use a little Loctite. Make sure you remove the Allen screws out of the nose of the trolling motor. That's going to allow you to pull that bottom piece off. You got to make sure that you're disconnecting, I think this is a number 3 or number 4 Allen. You got to make sure you're disconnecting the power leads inside the head of the motor, because you have to pull all of these cables through in order to get your transducer wire through the shaft of the trolling motor. So all you do is unscrew those, pull the wire out, pull this little protected boot off, and lay them aside so you don't lose them. Get your number 5 Allen wrench, guys, and remove these few larger screws out of the top that are holding the base of the trolling motor on. Take note that these all have a little rubber seal on them that helps prevent water intrusion, so make sure you're getting that and it's staying on the screw. Once you get those bolts out, guys, you should be able to pull this lower unit down. Now just go ahead and pull the base of the trolling motor down. You'll see that it exposes some wires along with some gaskets. Take your little tool that we talked about. What you want to do is unscrew this here. I'll show you what you got to do in order to get this baby out. Now there's also inside of here a little plug. You pop that plug out, and this is going to allow you to pull this plug out like that. Now we can technically pull our wires back through. All right, now I'm just pulling the wires straight through the shaft, guys. Guys, so you might have to pull a little cord through and then go out this way. And now you should have the clearance to remove that plug, and now the old one's out. All right, in your new kit, go ahead and pull out your transducer and also your hardware kit, which is going to have all your new gaskets and hardware. We have 2 seals we're going to put back on over the wires. Don't forget this is important. I've removed the old seals. Anytime you take off seals that have been exposed to the elements, they potentially break down, cause water intrusion, and you don't want that. So go ahead, put your seals back on, run them through your wire. And there's going to be 2 little spots, that's very obvious as to where they go. Put them in those slots. Blue one goes here. And what I did was I put a little bit of this dielectric grease. This stuff's great. It almost acts as a little tacky glue, but it's good for electronics, and it's going to hold these gaskets in place. Learned that from my buddy over at Aqua Auto. He said that he uses a different type of grease, but I use this for my electronic stuff. And you can see that all those are nice and where they're supposed to be. Here's a new transducer, nice and beautiful. Go ahead and unwrap her. Like a kid on Christmas morning. We're excited again. Now another thing you want to, we're going to have to cut this off. So the factory one comes with this, but you have to cut it off because you have to put it through the shaft, and that's why we use the one with the little clamps. But go ahead and remove your zip ties, and we're going to be feeding all of these wires together through this little bitty shaft simultaneously, and it takes a little bit of finesse and patience. All right, guys, carefully cut this brand new thingy-mabobber off. That baby did not want to come off. But that one had to look like that. Make sure you don't lose your red seal. You have to run your plug in through the side here, and then you go up and through the hole. And then what you want to do is slowly push this in and feed it through. And at the end here, you're going to make sure you leave 6 to 8 inches of wire for your transducer so you have room to do anything that you need to do. I just want to let you guys know this is one of the hardest parts of the process because there's not a lot of room in that shaft. You got to really try to squeeze all these wires together. And I feel like a little tape helps the process, but I'm going to show you another little trick that Garmin doesn't say to do. So what you got to do is Hawk 2 of that thing. So take a little WD-40 and spray your wire. And then wipe it down. That's going to allow it to glide a little easier inside the shaft. Wow. Oh, I ain't going to say nothing though. I ain't going to say it, guys. It's going in a lot easier than normal. So guys, we slid this base back on and we put a screw in. What I do is I put a little electrical grease on the top of here to prevent any rust, and then I put Loctite on that bottom thread. Now what we're going to do is put all our bolts back in that hold the base of the motor back on the shaft and start the assembly process. Make sure you put the new little grommets on here and take those old ones off. Guys, so now the assembly process, we went ahead and pulled the wires through. Just got to get everything assembled. Just put your terminals on. Make sure you put your little caps back on. I put some dielectrical grease on here. Doesn't say to do that, but I love that stuff. Tighten everything back up. Make sure your black's on your black, obviously, and your red's on your red for positive. And tighten everything up really snug. And pull your caps down, which I'll show you that in just a second. So once that's tight, pull your boot down, cover your wire just like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to zip tie those back in their rightful places, which is right here, with a couple little zip ties. And scoop this back on till it clicks. And then you got one more little area here that you got to plug in. I put some dielectrical grease on there as well. Plug it in. And then make sure you screw it in. And that'll keep that connection tight. New zip ties are in. All the electrical connections are good. But go ahead, put the head back on. And you got your 4 Phillips screws that you want to put back on the system. Install the transducer. I got it in perspective mode. Should look something like that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap. Back installed. Yeah, buddy. Oh yeah. See, that's how it's supposed to look.